If you've ever felt unseen, unheard, underestimated, watch this. The world doesn't always reward noise. It rewards presence. These 5 habits quietly build the kind of power that really can't be ignored. Today, we're doing a deep dive into this kind of counterintuitive idea that real strength, true power, it isn't about shouting. It's actually found in stillness, like a deep current under a calm surface. It's this undeniable force inside. So we're going to unpack 5, let's call them quiet habits, that some highly intelligent, really influential people use, ways they command respect without ever raising their voice. How do we start building that kind of presence?
Well, it really boils down to being intentional. We often think louder means stronger,
Yeah.
right? But actual power, it comes from self-mastery.
Yeah.
And that first step is completely internal.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. So let's get into that first habit then, mastering inner silence. A lot of us, our minds are like a noisy marketplace, just reacting all the time. But the aim here is different. It's about building an inner sanctuary, choosing not to let all that outside chaos become your internal noise.
Precisely. And that deliberate pause, it's not just a nice idea. It actually stops that cortisol flood that can hijack your thinking. By creating that little bit of inner silence, you keep the rational part of your brain, the prefrontal cortex, working. So you shift from just, blurting something out reactively to giving a really considered, thoughtful response.
I think of Meryl Streep in interviews. She has that legendary pause, right? She doesn't rush. And in that quiet moment, it feels like she's not scrambling for words. She's letting the wisest answer come up. It shows incredible control.
Absolutely. And you can practice this. There's something called the 90-second rule. Like when you get a tense email or someone says something triggering, don't react straight away. Just breathe. Let that first wave of emotion, anger, defensiveness, whatever, just pass. It takes about 90 seconds physiologically. That tiny gap, that's where the wisdom is. It could change a reply you'll regret into one that actually shifts the whole situation.
Okay, cultivating the calm inside, that makes sense as a foundation. And it seems like that naturally leads to the second habit, the discipline of softness and steel. This isn't about always being hard or, being a pushover either. It's more like an art form, knowing when to be like water and when to be like rock.
Exactly. And that emotional flexibility, that's really key for influence. It makes you unshakable. People can't easily provoke you or manipulate you. And that builds incredible trust because people see you can handle difficult emotions, yours and theirs, without losing your center.
Michelle Obama comes to mind. All that criticism she faced, she really lived that when they go low, we go high. Her steel was that firm boundary of dignity, but her softness let her communicate that strength with empathy, not bitterness.
It's about using the right tool for the job. Steel protects your boundaries. Softness nurtures connections. So like if a coworker steals your credit, use calm steel. Just state the facts in an email, just clarifying the contributions here. Yeah. But if your partner's having a rough day and snaps, use softness with the steel frame. Something like, hey, I see you're upset, but talking to me like that isn't okay. Let's circle back when things are calmer. See the difference.
Yeah, it's nuanced. Okay, so we have inner silence. We have this balance of softness and steel. What's next? It feels like this allows for a deeper kind of awareness.
It does. Which brings us perfectly to habit 3. The superpower of deep observation. Honestly, in a world that never stops talking, really listening, that's a superpower. It's about watching and listening beyond just the words. Picking up on the energy, the motivations, the things left unsaid.
And doing that consistently, it sharpens your intuition, right? Those gut feelings become less vague, more like actual data points. Helps you protect your energy, your heart.
Exactly. You're gathering information, not just jumping to conclusions.
I think of the writer Joan Didion. She was famous for being almost invisible, just observing. A quiet hunter of truth. She noticed the tiny details, the subtle dynamics everyone else missed.
You can try this yourself. Next meeting you're in, or even just a social chat. For the first, say 15 minutes, just focus on observing, purely observing. Who interrupts? Who leans in? Who pulls back? How does the energy shift when certain topics come up? The body language. It's amazing what you'll pick up when you stop focusing only on what you want to say.
That's a great practical exercise. And that focus on observation seems to fuel the fourth habit, the shift from consumption to creation. So much of modern life pushes us to just consume, right? Scrolling feeds, binging shows. But the real power shift happens when you become an author of your life, not just a reactor to it.
Yeah, and creation here isn't just about painting or writing poetry, though it can be. It's about intentionally shaping your experience, building your world based on your values. When you do that, you become a source of energy, of direction, instead of just passively taking things in.
Look at Oprah. Started as a news reporter consuming information. Her influence exploded when she became a creator. Her show, the magazine, the network. She started shaping the conversation.
So practically, maybe do a quick audit of your time. For every hour you spend consuming content, could you spend maybe 10 minutes creating something? Like instead of scrolling social media before bed, maybe journal a few thoughts. Instead of binging another series, maybe try creating a new recipe. Or plan out a small project. It shifts your energy, builds agency.
Okay, so be the creator, not just the consumer. Got it. And that brings us to the final habit, number 5, embodying boundaries. Not just announcing them. This one feels really powerful. The idea that the strongest boundaries aren't loud, angry speeches, they're just quietly lived. A consistent rhythm people learn to respect.
Exactly. And it saves so much energy. You stop trying to convince people who are, frankly, committed to misunderstanding you or pushing your limits. Your actions become the filter. It's about decisive being, not exhausting explaining.
Brene Brown talks about clear as kind. She doesn't get drawn into endless debates with critics online, right? Her boundaries just quiet disengagement. She focuses her energy elsewhere.
And a huge part of this is stop over-explaining your no. A boundary isn't really a negotiation if something doesn't work for you. A simple, calm, that doesn't work for me is enough. It's a complete sentence. Honestly, the people who push back hard against that simple statement, they often reveal that they benefit from you not having clear boundaries. Your quiet refusal is incredibly powerful.
Wow. Okay, so let's recap quickly. Inner silence, softness and steel, deep observation, shifting from consumption to creation, and finally, embodying boundaries. These 5 habits, they aren't about becoming someone else. They feel more like remembering the strength you already have, like building this quiet architecture of self-respect. And that kind of strength, it doesn't need to yell, it doesn't need to prove anything, it just is, and you feel its presence. Here's a thought to leave you with. Just pick one. Try practicing just one of these habits for a week. See what happens. Watch how the world starts responding, not necessarily to your volume, but to your depth. Subscribe for more deep dives into the insights that really matter.